I'm back. Okay. Oh, what are we on here? Report, accusation, a confession. A confession! Naruhodō-sama. Lord Clint Van Zeke's will, likely, contained a confession. A confession. Regarding the true identity of the serial killer, the professor. Oh my god, Baroque! Baroque! Wait, do you have any idea what you're saying? Confession about the professor's true identity would mean... Oh, he's probably just realizing it now. I'm so sorry, Baroque. I understand how you must feel, Lord Van Zeeks. But that's the only thing we can conclude. "10 years ago, the true identity of the man known as the Professor, who had all of London quaking, and who took the lives of 5 aristocrats and royals was... not Asogi Genshin." He apologized! You can't mean... But... It was the person assumed to be the 5th victim. Lord Clint Van Zeeks! Uh-oh. I'm so sorry, Baroque! Oh my god! Oh! We're just damaging all the prosecutors today! Oh no! So it's opened at last. Door sealed by darkness. The members of the House of Van Zeeks are thoroughbreds of the legal world. Even among them, Lord Clint was a symbol of justice here in London. To think that his real identity was that of a merciless serial killer. If the public find out about this, that would be the end of our nation's judicial system. My brother was... Zeek-sama, you poor thing. Did he really never once suspect his brother? Huh? Lord Baroque Van Zeeks is an outstanding prosecutor. Did he really not have any idea about his brother's true identity? Order! 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 Lord Van Zeeks. Oh, my voice cracked, my bad. I've heard that the professor used a huge dog as his weapon. Did your brother own a dog? Yes, he did. Bullmug was a well-known dog and a massive hunting hound. Oh my god indeed! My brother always brought that dog with him when he'd go hunting in the forest behind his manor. My brother died. The dog followed him into death as well. He was such a remarkable hunting hound that he was given a leather collar to wear, studded with magnificent jewels. A leather collar? Yes, that's right. However, several years ago, his manor was hit by a cat burglar, and it's no longer there. A jewel-encrusted collar, stolen by a cat burglar. Actually, we just so happened to have seen that collar. What? The collar had a family crest on it in age-pure gold. It was a large ornate letter B with an impressive crown design. What? A crest with a B. Are you familiar with it? That was the crest of the House of Baskerville. What? Baskerville? I didn't expect that name to come up here. The Baskervilles were my brother's wife's family. One of the family jewels she brought with her when she married into the Van Zieks family. There can be no mistake. That was Balmug's color. Lord Clint Van Zieks' wife's family crest. The collar had a large amount of bloodstains on it. If it belonged to a hunting hound, then perhaps it was only the blood of its prey, but there's a high possibility that it was the blood of his human prey. Then it's true. Lord Clint Van Zieks was the professor. Impossible! Damn these Japanese! Spewing terrifying conjecture like that! The one who took the lives of those 5 aristocrats and members of the royal family was himself a member of the English aristocracy. Aristocracy! A symbol of justice. Ugh, I can't read now. There was a huge scandal that could have brought the law and order of the Great British Empire crumbling down. My dad used that secret as a weapon in his deal with the Great British Empire. At the last second, he was betrayed and lost his life in this foreign land. Well, what do you have to say about that, Lord Vortex? It's been 10 years. The 6 million citizens of the massive imperial city of London still believe the serial killer that rocked the Great British Empire was executed without his identity ever being learned. Very well. I'll tell you everything. So then, Clint Van Zieks was... Clint Van Zieks was tragically pure. He became a prosecutor, and in the course of chasing down evil, he realized he was chasing himself. And finally, he came to a certain conclusion. In order to truly chase down evil, one has to become... Is Akari still here? One has to become an evil that surpasses that. The evil that Okay, I don't... Okay, but Batman doesn't kill anyone. That's the difference. Hi, I'm just gonna copy paste this. What is this sentence supposed to be? Thank you. Alright. In order to truly chase down evil, one has to become an evil that surpasses that. Brother. Oh no. Van Zieks. What a twist. The 19th century in the Great British Empire. To the rest of the world, it was a miraculous century. New industry, new technology, and a new form of public order in the form of the Metropolitan Police. However, the darkness of the shadow cast by that shining splendor was truly deep. The industry polluted our water and turned the air a smoggy yellow. And then there were the ever-increasing crimes. Lord Clint Van Zieks fought desperately against that darkness. Somewhere, along the way, he himself ended up being swallowed up by it. It's truly shocking that the truth was reached like this. And by a pair of Japanese people, of all things. What do you mean, of all things? 10 years ago, your father, Genshin, visited my office. The professor, you say? Yes, I'm certain of it. I need a warrant right away. What nonsense. He's from the noblest of family of all, and a symbol of justice. That's precisely why you English aren't able to see that you're being fooled. He's using his aristocracy as a front to commit his crimes behind. I trust you have proof. I don't have anything decisive right now. The fact remains that he owns a massive hound at his manor. The man's an aristocrat. I need the cooperation of the English judicial system for this. Every noteworthy family owns hunting hounds. It's a given in our country. Apologies, but I won't mobilize Scotland Yard just because of some guest's accusation. I shot down Genshin's proposal at the time. He visited Van Ziek's manor alone that night. But what happened between the two of them after that, all we can do is guess. And that very night, Lord Clint Van Zieks died. Dear Lord. So that means that Kazuma-sama's father really did... Did he do the same thing as Lord Clint Van Zieks? Put a stop to the professor's He put a stop to the professor permanently by using the very extreme method of taking his life. Double murder? When I rushed to the manor and saw the scene of the crime, it told me what had happened. And what about the will at the time? Genshin must have already taken it. It wasn't at the scene of the crime. We didn't even know that such a thing existed. The only one who knew the professor's true identity was me. So I resolved to protect that secret forever. So you confess. You admit to everything. So you're saying you pinned the crime on my dad? I had to do whatever it... I had to do whatever it touched to protect the great British judicial system. Is it touch? I had to do whatever it touched to protect the great British judicial system. Is that? I don't know that that's actually the right sentence there. Okay. Even if that meant using unforgivable means. Whatever it took. Yes, that sounds right. I love reading out, like, weird sentences. It's really fun. It's just like, this is a serious scene. Let me do this. It's okay. I'm sorry. I find that funny. I enjoy reading, like, if it's a serious scene and I just get, like, typos and it's really funny reading it out loud. You're fine. So then, the one who planted this fake evidence. I gave the order to the detective in order to keep the truth hidden. Detective Gregson. Okay, I mean, there's a lot of words, it's okay. There's a lot of, like, dialogue. Naturally, the detective resolutely refused at first. But we can't go around doing things like that. We just can't! There's no doubt that the one who killed Lord Clint Van Zieks was Asogi. The servants that night saw Asogi fleeing the scene. I know. The one who did it was that Oriental. But there wasn't a single piece of decisive evidence. Besides, he doesn't own a dog that could have been used as the weapon. We're out of time, Detective Gregson. We have to stop his crime spree. This is for the good of the great British Empire. No matter what means we must use. Don't you agree, Detective? Well... "10 years ago, I was attacked by several night prowlers on the back alley in London. That mean that those night prowlers who stole Asogi's ring from him were Detective Gregson and those he had employed to help him. That night, the detective must have handed the stolen ring over to the coroner, Dr. Watson. While no one was looking, he pretended to discover it in the victim's body. Asogi Genshin accepted a guilty verdict as a result of the forged evidence. However, behind the scenes, Asogi Genshin and the English judicial system struck a deal, didn't they? Oh, I know that comic! Atoning for his... I love that blog on Tumblr! A deal that he confessed to the crimes and silently accepted the guilty verdict. You should be able to put links now in the chat, I think. However, there's one thing I just can't believe. From what I knew of him, no one would have hated a deal like that more than my dad. Whoops. Yeah, I read that in the wrong tone. Oh well. It was incredibly easy to get that Japanese man to yield. After all, he had a crippling weakness. My dad? A weakness? Naturally. It was you, Asogi Kazuma. Me? I mean, think about it! Think about it, Asogi! Do you not want to return home to Japan, Mr. Asogi? What? I believe I heard that you had a 14-year-old son. You promised to obediently accept a guilty verdict and cooperate with us. You can return to your homeland and see your son. How cowardly. Either way, your trial will be conducted in the utmost secrecy on the orders of the Queen. No matter what claims you make in that courtroom, we will crush them. The fate that awaits you is execution. You best not forget that I've got a final weapon up my sleeve. It's a will, proving the fact that you fear most. I know. That's why I'm proposing a deal. All I want is to protect the great British legal system. Now, what say you, Mr. Asogi? Oh my god. Why? Hashtag the Asogi family did nothing wrong! Why? Why? This torment is just... Oh, no. No, my boy! Stop hurting him! I can't... Oh, I can't do this. He did that for me. I told him this as well, but I had only one goal: to protect the great British judicial system, no matter what I had to do. What is this? Regardless of what happened, I never thought such a thing until just now. However, now the time has come for me to question the central figure behind the Grim Reaper of Old Bailey. Was it you, Lord Heart Vortex? Quite a splendid idea, don't you think, Lord Baroque Van Zeeks? The ghost of the brother who acted as the symbol of justice, bringing down his iron heel upon evil for the sake of his younger brother. Exactly the sort of plot that the masses of London would love. How horrible! I knew that you'd accept that role if it were presented to you. Far from being the Grim Reaper, you were like London's guardian deity. My hands are stained with blood, though. Those who had cooperated with me the first time didn't hesitate to do so again. Detective Gregson and Professor John H. Watson. Both worked in order to keep you sinless. And that's how you managed to become on par with a god. However, Professor Watson was invited to the Great Japanese Empire 4 years ago as a professor. Precisely. Though, his position was then taken by his apprentice, Dr. Courtney Sith. Dr. Sith? The professor's execution and the Grim Reaper of Old Bailey are the tools I've used to protect the great Imperial City's judicial system these past 10 years. And that's the whole story. I confess before you all here and now, the one who created the Grim Reaper was me. However, there's just one other thing I'd like to say. It was all for the sake of protecting the peace here in the Great British Empire. Lord Heart Vortex. It's true, what he's done can't go unpunished, but the ones who were killed were villains who escaped judgment by the law. All in order to protect London's judicial system. What is this track? All those who could speak on the truth of what happened 10 years ago are already gone. So I can declare with certainty that it would be impossible to continue this trial any further. Therefore, I'd like to make one request to all members of the judicial system gathered here. The truth must not leave this room it must never reach Her Majesty's ears. Can I entrust you with that? For the sake of this country's judicial system. Is this really going to be the end of this trial? There's just one thing I'd like to ask you. Defendant, Lord Baroque Van Zieks. What is it? I know that you're an outstanding prosecutor. It's hard to imagine that you never once suspected your brother, Lord Clint Van Zieks. That's true. I was wondering about that as well. Though it was only very temporary, I can't say I never doubted. My brother had a very strong sense of justice, to the point where I sometimes thought it seemed dangerous. At the time, there were aristocrats who would exploit England for their own gain. They were aristocrats, and therefore untouchable. It greatly pained my brother, who was himself an aristocrat. And then, that's when the professor was born. During the time that his crimes were beginning to pile up, my brother was not himself. And that's what caused you to doubt him. Precisely. However, it only lasted a brief while. A brief while? My brother isn't the murderer. That was the conclusion I reached at the time. And I still believe that even now. And do you have something to base that conviction on, Lord Van Zieks? The third victim was the chief magistrate at the time. He was the one who recognized my brother's talents and guided him in growing as a prosecutor. He owed that man a lot. No matter the circumstances, there's no way my brother ever would have murdered him. Oh no. Oh! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! I bet Vortex caught on and started using Klimt! Oh my god! That's enough. Both Clint Van Zieks and Asogi Genshin are no more. That means that no matter how we debate the matter, we can never reach a solid conclusion. Well, there are still only two pieces of evidence that still remain. That old ring, which had acted as the decisive evidence 10 years ago, and the 3 pages of black squiggles left by that Japanese man. The facts are as I have stated. That's the whole story. After the trial, I intend to appear before the Ministry of Justice to accept my due punishment. This concludes today's trial. Thank you, Asogi. Huh? Thanks to you, I was able to catch on at the very last second. What are you talking about? Your Honor, we can't allow this trial to end. What? Today's trial is supposed to be a place where we pursue the truth beyond a speck of doubt. Just now, a certain person made a statement, and it contained a very odd contradiction. A contradiction? But all I did was ask the defendant a single question. First of all, Van Zieks-sama reminisced about his elder brother, and Vortex-sama cut that statement off. That's all I did. What's wrong with that? Which of the two of them uttered the contradictory words? Lord Van Zieks or Lord Vortex? It was Lord Vortex. Something about his statement seemed off. Think back on it, Naruhodō Ryūnosuke. Both Clint Van Zieks and Asogi Genshin are no more. That means that no matter how we debate the matter, we can never reach a solid conclusion. There are only two pieces of evidence that still remain. That old ring, which had acted as the decisive evidence 10 years ago, and the 3 pages of black squiggles left by that Japanese man. There are only 2 pages! There are only 2 pages! Excuse me, what are you talking about? If I may, Lord Vortex. What is it, defense? There was one thing about your statement just now that contradicts a certain piece of evidence. A contradiction. As long as such a clear contradiction exists, the defense has a right to pursue it. Naruhodō. I warned you that imputed wording would prove fatal. You say I utter a contradiction, then present the evidence. This is the will left by Asogi Genshin. A will left on 2 sheets of calligraphy paper. What? But you clearly just stated the following. That it was left on 3 sheets of paper. Oh boy. Could it be that Asogi Genshin's will had originally contained a 3rd page? I was wondering what you were going to try to pull. How trifling. Trifling? Chief Officer Barricade, let me ask you something. Yes, sir! I believe you were present when that Japanese man wrote his will. Yes, I clearly remember all those black squiggly letters of his. And there were indeed 3 pages to the will. What? However, his final testament concluded on the first 2 pages. The 3rd page contained a message he wanted to deliver to his son. Oh no, is this gonna be upsetting again? The only thing the Great British Empire needed was the condemned prisoner's final testament. There was no benefit for the Great British Empire in having some strange message sent to Japan, so we decided at the time not to deliver the message on the final page of the will. That's awful! You are all awful! What have you done? I had a right to hear my dad's final words. What the heck? What the heck, you guys? Worthless sentimentality. That has no place in a court of law. I brought the 3rd page with me, just in case. That's the message my father left me. I will see that you receive it after the trial is over. After the trial will be too late. In this situation, even something small could end up being a clue. Your Honor, the defense requests that the message left by Asogi Genshin be announced, here and now. It's unnecessary. Those words have no value now. Oh, shut up. The prosecution also requests that that message be presented. We must investigate all possible leads. Very well. Go ahead then, Chief Officer Barricade. Go ahead and reveal the message on the 3rd page. Yes, sir! But I can't make heads or tails of these black squiggles. This is rather impressive handwriting. If you like, I can translate this into English for you. Father! What are you still doing here, Mikotoba? Oh, me? I'm also a member of the judicial system, albeit an insignificant one. Once I've translated this, I'll withdraw again at once. Actually, that's extremely fitting that Mikotoba is the one reading this, considering that Mikotoba has been fostering Asogi all of, like, after what happened. I appreciate your cooperation. That's extremely fitting, and now I'm having feels. God damn it. No, I hate this! Kazuma, the truth lies in the darkness, and the only thing that can banish the darkness is karma. Yes! There we go! All you must do is think. Simply twist the head of the famous sword in your hand. Remember when I was talking earlier where, like, it was really obvious where that will is? The will of Asogi. We've been hearing about karma, how it is the spirit of Asogi, the will of Asogi, the final weapon. It's karma. Apparently, that's all there was. I love it! It's so clever! Twist the head. Father. What's karma? The famous sword Karma. Its sword passed down through my family, containing the Japanese soul. It requires no introduction. And the funny thing is we've known about this all the way back into case 4 when Everett said it first, the will of Asogi. Like, it makes me happy. We're still lost, even after that introduction. It's this Japanese katana that was presented as evidence earlier. Apparently, he wore it on his belt in order to assassinate Detective Gregson. Apparently, it had 3 pages. He had it all this time for 2 games. God dang. I love this. Apparently, we've reached the end of this trial for real this time. As the judge, I accommodated all your requests. However, as I suspected, no new facts have come to light. Thanks to Kumi, indeed. Clint Van Zieks lost himself in the pursuit of justice. When he took the life of his benefactor, he had already lost his ability to see reason. What self-indulgent nonsense! My brother was, until his final moments. At this point, we can't possibly know anything beyond that. Not unless by some miracle his supposed will is found. Lord Vortex, why are you trying to rush this trial? I believe you've declared several times that everything you did was to protect the great British judicial system. Precisely. The Grim Reaper was necessary in order to fight an evil that exceeds the power of the law. In that case, what about Detective Gregson? And Professor Watson? None of them were bad people. You used them and then killed them. No matter how many nice words you use to try to explain it, that's not justice! Lord Hard Vortex, what on earth are you hiding? Dr. Mikotoba, I believe you promised you would withdraw immediately after you finished the translation. The only thing that matters in this courtroom is evidence. It appears that the defense has no evidence to present. Well, I haven't looked at karma yet. Give me a second. In that case, the entirety of the previous debate shall be stricken from the court record. Oh, we both decided to breathe at the same time again. This is our last chance. Naruhodō-sama, do I have any decisive evidence that I can present? Present evidence, wait and see. Present. One moment, please. The defense does have evidence it would like to present. The prelude! What nonsense! You can't possibly have any such evidence. It's about time you caught on, Lord Vortex. This is the way this man has always been. He always manages to pull the most astonishing evidence out of somewhere at the very last second. What? Naruhodō, just what is this evidence? The fucking will? The duck will? It could be the final and decisive piece of evidence that we need in order to reveal the entire truth. You... Decisive. It seems that you can't run away from this anymore. In that case, go ahead and present it. If you can, that is. What is this decisive evidence that will expose the truth behind this case? Well, I need to examine it first. Give me 5 seconds, clear. Hold on. Gotta close this. Simply twist the head of the famous sword in your hand. I tried taking the sword into my hand and twisting the head, but nothing happened, of course. If I may, Naruhodō-sama, perhaps this is not the head. Huh? This is something I learned after reading a book on swords long ago, but I believe you're familiar with the part at the end of the sword's hilt? It's that. The head. It's also referred to sometimes as the pommel cap. Pommel cap? Simply twist the cap of the famous sword in your hand. No way! Inside Karma's hilt. This is a tightly rolled piece of parchment. Holy crap, it's been sitting there for 10 years! Oh! A document written in scarlet ink. I record this as I prepare to leave this world of my own will. We were right. This is... Naruhodō-sama! Look at the signature at the end! Lord Clint Van Ziek's. And it's dated 10 years ago. It's been sleeping in here for 10 whole years, hasn't it? This is Clint Van Ziek-sama's will. What's this? The words written here. Can't believe this. Klimt's will, Lord Klimt's will, which was hidden inside the famous sword Karma. A strong trump card left by Asogi Genshin. Hey, examine it again? Examine it again? Twist the cap, huh? I guess even Asogi's father liked to play on, liked plays on words. Making a secret hiding place in a place like this. It does at first glance seem to suggest a certain playfulness, but perhaps the Asogi family has fulfilled missions throughout the ages that made such a thing necessary, and that's why they carry it with them. Important missions involving protecting secrets, huh? It's true. When I look at him, I do get the sense that he's lived his life bearing the weight of that long-standing, illustrious name. Oh! 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 Ow! Ow, my heart. Oh my god, we just filled the entire 6th page! All the pages are filled with evidence. This is ridiculous. There's only one piece of evidence now that can tell us the truth about what happened 10 years ago. And that's the will left by Lord Clint Van Zieks. Ha! I know that. However, there's no way you're going to find that at this late hour. I'm sure that's what you thought, but I have it right here. I just found it. Ridiculous. Impossible. Everything is connected to this will. And that's the key that will lead us to the final truth. Woo! Nice face! Wow, that face that Vortex is making! Where was my brother's will hiding? Oh my god, I need that animation! Give me that! It was in here. But that's karma. The will has been sleeping inside of here for the past 10 years. It's been waiting for the right time to expose the truth. The signature, the crest in this wax seal, it all certainly looks official. It's true. This is my brother, Clint Van Zieks' handwriting. There's no mistaking it. I completely forbid the revealing of the contents of that will! Yeah, sorry, you can't do that. That won't work. The answers we need are inside. The information in that will could destroy this country's judicial system. Give it to me! Right now! Hell no! Why are you trying to keep it hidden? Could it be? Oh, excuse me. That you already know what's written in here? Ugh. What are you talking about? Court is adjourned! I'm calling for an immediate emergency adjournment! If you do that, it will deal fatal damage to your position as head magistrate. What? After all, you're trying to cut short a trial without a legitimate reason. And a top-secret trial ordered by the Queen in the presence of the members of the judicial system at that. It would mean going against the Great British Empire itself. Boy. So Lord Clint Van Zieks left a will. It's all as that Japanese man said. We need to have it revealed, here and now. We have a duty and a right to hear it. Judging by the sound of things, Your Honor, this court had become unwilling to forgive your selfishness any longer. Ridiculous. Now, Naruhodō, read out the will. The prosecution has no objections whatsoever. Yes, all right. Stop. Stop! Nope, we ain't stopping! I record this as I prepare to leave this world with my own will. The time is 11 p.m. in my office, and my friend Asogi stands beside me. He is overseeing this conclusion in accordance with the old-fashioned etiquette of dueling. The Japanese are compassionate. He has agreed to give me an honorable death. I, Clint Van Zieks, hereby confess. The one who committed the 4 murders under the name of the Professor was me. I don't have time to go into detail about the decay of England that I was able to see as an aristocrat. Over the course of these last 6 months, I have been taking the lives of the members of the aristocracy at the center of that decay. There are demons who use their position and power to twist the law and reveal to me the limits of the judicial system. In order to stand against these demons who use the citizens for their own profit, I had no choice but to become a demon myself. I considered it hunting. The fangs of my proud hunting hound dealt them their rightful judgment. However, though I have long been a hunter, I was but a novice of a criminal. I began being blackmailed by a certain person who saw through my crime, threatened to reveal my identity to my beloved wife and younger brother. Since then, I became a serial killer who took people's lives under his orders. When my benefactor and the man I respected were killed before me, something inside of me shattered. At some point, I had become a beast, giving horrific orders to my faithful, beloved dog. Things cannot return to the way they were. Either I will die, or Asogi will die. One of the two. To my blackmailer, Heart Vortex, may the curse of the beast be upon you. Lord Clint Van Zieks was indeed a murderer. However, there was someone behind the scenes dictating his victims. It was you. The blackmailer, Lord Heart Vortex. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Oh. I believe you said earlier, Lord Vortex, that the information in the will could destroy this country's judicial system. However, there was only one secret here that you were desperately trying to protect. That was your own identity, that you were willing to sacrifice the lives of others in order to hide. I couldn't bring myself to believe it. The third victim was the chief magistrate at the time. He was my brother's benefactor and a man of virtue. My brother would have had no reason to kill him. The one who did have a reason was you, Lord Vortex. In order to make yourself the chief magistrate, you erased the person in your way, using your hunting hound, Lord Clint Van Zieks. It was necessary. The darkness of London is deep, and the reach of the law wielded by the Yard is short. Criminals must be stamped out, but the chief magistrate at that time was too soft. A man of virtue. If you ask me, he was just a cowering weakling. That's why I became the chief magistrate, in order to fight them. Your method was murder. I really want to go back and replay all the cases again now after finishing this, because I just want to like go back to the first game and just see all the little foreshadowings that was there this entire time. Ah, this has been so good. I want to go back and do it. I'm still considering doing a marathon and just doing a live reading of all the games, all the cases again. The Grim Reaper, the Professor. It doesn't matter what you call it. I'll say it as many times as I must. It was all for London's judicial system. Well, I wouldn't. I would do it in like, I'd do it in 2-hour interviews like I've been doing for the streams here. I wouldn't like stream all day long through the cases. I would die. My voice would be gone and I wouldn't be able to do any LPs, and that would be awful. You think you can rationalize the murder of my dad with that comment? Asogi Genshin. It was a shame what happened to him. I planned on letting him return to his homeland as promised. Ridiculous! You killed Asogi Genshin with your own hands! It was not me who took his life. Huh? On the fateful night of his execution, Gyakuten and I waited until 3 a.m. and headed for Lowgate Cemetery. Oh no! Are you kidding me? Judge Gyakuten. I needed an accomplice on the Japanese side of things to be able to send Genshin home to Japan, and to deal with the part about him being a murderer. Gyakuten was very ambitious, so I used that ambition of his. After the trial in which he broke the witness stand 10 years ago, I approached him. Oh my god, his laughter. I promised that I could guarantee him a position as the Japanese Minister of Foreign Affairs upon his return home, and he jumped at it. Gyakuten Seshiro. How foolish. After the supposed execution, Genshin would hide inside the casket to be carried out of the prison and buried. We'd come and dig him up before the air in the casket ran out. However, when we tried to do so, something we couldn't have foreseen happened. The grave had already been dug up, and there was an unfamiliar man standing over it. Its eyes were fixed on the one person no one must ever see. Enoch Drebber. I heard he was a grave robber, but of all the graves he could have chosen, to think it would end up being that one. Interesting enough about Mangadol, though, that Mangadol wasn't actually killed by the Grim Reaper, since we found out later that it was actually Cloudgree that did it. Unless Cloudgree was part of the Grim Reaper plan! To think it would end up being that one. This is bad. If anyone finds out about that prisoner, it would be a major scandal that would shake the Great British Empire to its core. What do we do? Shoot Genshin at once, Mr. Gyakuten. Now that this has happened, we can't let him remain alive. What are you saying? You promised him. You promised you'd let him go home to Japan. The situation has changed. If the world finds out about this, both of us are finished. Do it! Shoot him, Gyakuten! What are you waiting for? Shoot him! Gyakuten shot Genshin from the shadows. His blood splattered on the young man. The young man fled. We proceeded to bury Genshin's body one more time. The next day, the gravekeeper found out about the wax figure museum owner and notified us. His iron mask is not to be removed under any circumstances. He will not say a word to anyone about the— Wait, am I still reading? Wait, the man fled one more time. These are circumstances. Okay. And so, the secret remained buried in that grave. That is what happened that night at Lowgate Cemetery. Ohayo gozaimasu, Risa-san. We are almost done with this trial. You The chunk of this trial is already over. The one who killed Genshin was Gyakuten, that Japanese man. He claimed they were best friends, and yet, in the end, he pulled the trigger on that rifle. Just before he left the courtroom, Gyakuten Saiban said this: that the assassin exchange was demanded by the person on the English side of things. You threatened him, didn't you? Using that shooting incident. Gyakuten was involved as the Minister of Foreign Affairs in setting the conditions of the treaty with our country. If it had become known that he shot and killed a fellow countryman 10 years ago, he would have lost everything. I simply reminded him of that fact. Oh my god. I've been battling London's darkness for these past 10 years. I fought using any means necessary to secure a victory for our judicial system. That's not true. You never once fought your own battles. How dare you! I protected Clint Van Zieks and saved him from a dishonorable death. But behind the scenes, you were just disposing of everyone who stood in your way. And you pinned all the blame on my dad. It was in order to protect the Great Britain's law and order. I had no choice. Not only that, but that's not all you killed. You set up the defendant as the Grim Reaper and took the lives of criminals as well. Silence! They used any legal means they had at their disposal in order to secure not guilty verdicts. That's why the Imperial City needed a Grim Reaper. That was how I fought. You did nothing. The one who accepted the disgraceful name of the Grim Reaper while fighting fairly and justly in court was Lord Van Zieks. Fairly and justly. And the one who believed in the right thing but agonizingly dirtied his own hands with crime was Detective Gregson. And the one who put his life on the line to seek the truth alone was Asogi Genshin. The only one hiding behind London's darkness was you! Damn you! How dare you! It was all to protect London, you say? What a load of crap. All you did was use the truth in order to make deals to benefit yourself. Those who try to hide the truth aren't qualified to be part of the judicial system. Don't ever talk about the judicial system again! My oh my, folks. That was quite a show you put on. Allow me to give you a round of applause. What do you mean? Such serious faces and beautiful Queen's English accents. Honestly, these Far East Islander friends of ours are quite the hard workers. Damn you. Don't screw with us! But yes, exactly. It's just as you say, folks. Just as you folks say. What are you getting at? So you say I'm hiding in London's darkness, doing nothing, do you? Honestly, when you put it so bluntly like that, it makes me a little embarrassed, but I've done nothing, which means there is no need to charge me with any crime, does it not? I hate to do this to you guys, but I'm gonna take a 5-minute break. That was another hour of reading there, so 5 minutes, 5 minutes.